What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. On today's episode, we'll talk about offensive lineman Teven Jenkins returning to practice and his comments in his first press conference as all of this has been going down. We'll also talk about quite a few injuries happening to the wide receiver core down in training camp. What's significant, what's not. We'll break all that down, plus what's going on with the offensive line right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
All right, Bears fans. So Teven Jenkins has returned to training camp today, Saturday, for the first time. It seems like he practiced on a limited basis, but he also met with media for the first time in over 2 months and talked about what's been going on briefly, right, with the Chicago Bears, as well as his expectations. So Teven Jenkins did say his expectation is that he will be with the regular season to begin the regular season. He says that he's here with the Chicago Bulls right now. I'm here to play football for the Bears, and that's what I'm going to do, and that's what I plan on doing right now. Now, when asked and continue to press about it, he did say, I'm here with the Chicago Bears right now. He also says that he loves his coaches and has no animosity towards each other. We talk every other day, and he also said that any reports that he clashed with coaching is not true, and he has not clashed with any coaches in any way, shape, or form. Now, this is kind of unexpected. I think with the way everything's been going down, reported at one point Teven Jenkins left off the depth chart. The reports that they were shopping him, issues with coaches, everything like that surrounding him. Returning to training camp today was a bit of a surprise for some, especially that he did have media availability as well. Now, he did seem to face it head on. Now, he didn't go into detail with anything. He gave kind of you could tell he was kind of prepared for what questions were and what his answers were going to be to certain questions, and that's fine, right? That's to be expected, but where everything sits right now with Teven Jenkins, I guess it's going to remain to be seen. You know, I had asked a lot. I put a poll up. I said to myself, like, considering how young Jenkins is, considering we drafted him with a second-round pick, all those things happening, is that, yeah, you know, it would be nice to see Teven Jenkins at least get a chance to succeed here in the Chicago Bears, to see what he could turn into, to see what he could develop into. And it seems like as of right now, maybe because no trades came to fruition, maybe no deals that Ryan Poles liked, that Teven Jenkins has returned to the team. He is going to be practicing with the team, and he does expect to start the season with the Chicago Bears as well. Now, this, you know, it's been an interesting offseason for the Chicago Bears, considering how many veterans we've let go, considering what was going on with Robert Quinn and that speculation. And, you know, as everything starts to calm down, as everything starts to work out, it's going to, you know, interesting to see how it continues to just take shape. Is Teven Jenkins going to eventually be moved? I guess we'll watch and wait and see. I would not be surprised, especially with how the offensive line is shaping up. Braxton Jones, who's shown and seemingly is going to be a starter on that offensive line for the Chicago Bears. You know, considering he comes in, he shined a little bit more, maybe took to the system a little bit more. Who knows, right? We'll see how it eventually shakes with Teven Jenkins. I, for one, am happy that he's down there in training camp, practicing with the team, no matter what happens down the road, whether he's traded, whether he's moved, whether he's benched, whatever cut at some point, whatever happens down the road. I'm glad that he's here in training camp, that whatever going on, that they are using this as business to see, because I tell you what right now, regardless of clashing with coaches personality-wise or not, whether that's true or not true, if Teven Jenkins does develop, if Teven Jenkins gives you the best option to be on that offensive line other than other options that we have out there, I want to see him on the field for the Chicago Bears. You work out everything else later. It's business. Business comes first. Protection Justin Fields comes first. And if that's the way that it ends up shaking out, then that's the way it ends up shaking out. We'll see. But everything needs to be decided on the field. Like in that, and you know, that's what I hope happens. We'll see how it ends up shaking out. But as it stands right now, Teven Jenkins back practicing with the team, is in training camp, has not been moved, is not injured. So we'll see where it goes and where it leads. Let me know down below, how do you think this story ends up shaking out? Do you think Teven Jenkins stays with the Chicago Bears to start the season, to end the season? Do you think he's eventually moved? Do you think he does get an opportunity to start? Let me know all that down below. But while we're talking about offensive line, it seems like offensive coordinator has not yet solidified the offensive line, even though it seems like we're getting close to that. We do have our first preseason game next Saturday, exactly a week. I'm going to go to a direct quote from Luke Getsy here. We're still a ways away for a lot of positions, to be honest with you, and that's one of them. We flip guys from right to left up front, and we're trying to see whatever combination makes the most sense and which guys are the most flexible for us. So we've got a lot of information to still find out. This has been a really good week for us. You talk about some of the guys who have stepped up and how they are going to react when their pads are in run game. That's the biggest part. I think they've done a lot of really good things. So while it seems like they may not have settled on a starting front five yet, it does seem like Braxton Jones, it's his job to lose. And shout out to him for earning that. As well as what we paid Riley Reef. We know he's going to be in the starting offensive line as well. Lucas Patrick, who is out with injury right now, but is going to be back before the start of the season. He's probably going to get a spot there, and we'll see what shakes with everything else. But even though they say they haven't solidified a rotation yet on that starting five, I'm pretty sure it's getting close to that. And we'll see what starting five starts the game for the Chicago Bears in that first preseason game next weekend. Now, while these are solid updates, everything is not positive at training camp right now. We're going to catch up on the injuries at training camp. So it seems like Byron Pringle is going to miss some time with a pretty significant quad injury. He said that the quad injury would force him to miss some time, and that the wide receiver room is wide open behind Darnell Mooney. So as we see, but some of the competition behind him as well. Velus Jones is considered day-to-day with another minor injury as well, nothing major. But N'Keal Harry has seemed to suffer a significant leg injury in today's practice, where he had to be carried and helped off the field by trainers and teammates. Now, we don't know the extent of the injury yet. It just happened today, but this is not good news for a player that came in that the Bears did trade for, not giving up much capital for, but really had a chance to try and prove themselves, maybe for the first time in his NFL career. Seems like he fell out of grace there in New England very early on. And we know N'Keal Harry said that what was said of him so far is that he's taken to the playbook well so far. He's taken to the schemes well so far and really got a good grasp of it, even though he came into training camp late. It really sucks to see him maybe suffer a significant injury before he really got a chance to play in any games. Now, let me know what you guys think about all this down before. With that wide receiver number 2 position, seemingly now with Byron Pringle with an injury, Velus Jones also with an injury. Now Velus seems like it's going to be the least significant, so he'll probably be back at being considered day-to-day. But both N'Keal Harry and Byron Pringle, who were still trying to really solidify their positioning in this wide receiver core, Byron Pringle, because of where he was signed for, he's going to get a chance regardless. But this N'Keal Harry injury could very well, maybe, especially if some of the other wide receivers step up, maybe force him out of the 53-man roster, depending on how significant the injury is. Now, I don't want to report on that. This is all speculative at this point. We'll see how significant and what that extent of the injury is. I'm sure we get an injury point at some point. Hopefully before tomorrow's episode, we have an update on that so we can deliver it to you guys on the full episode as well. But as of right now, N'Keal Harry suffering what seems to be a pretty serious leg injury, having to be helped off the field. So let's see what goes on in that. Prayers to him. Hopefully he's able to get out back on the field with his teammates early on and continue to fight and earn that spot in the wide receiver core for the Chicago Bears. But that is it for me for today on this Saturday episode of Chicago Bears Central. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you follow the show at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform. You can also send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, chicagobearscentral@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave us a text and or voicemail, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. Like I like to end every episode on, bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.